Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Utkarsh. Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Utkarsh Ujjwal.
Yes,
Both are your names? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Both
all
are
right.
my names.
Okay. So, Utkarsh Ujjwal is from Bhojpur, Bihar.
Yes, sir.
And you have done civil engineering. And you are also National Talent Search Examination holder.
Yes, sir.
That is generally for the basic sciences.
Yes, sir. It is a class 10th exam. It is now held in class 10th.
Okay, but the exam, the scholarship continues up to the post-graduation
Yes,
level.
sir. Till PhD level.
So you got the scholarship up to PhD also.
No, sir. Till my BTech.
Till your BTech, you did your BTech.
Yes, sir.
But BTech is covered under NTSC.
Yes, sir. It is.
Achha. I thought it was basic sciences only.
Sir, KVPY scholarship is for only research field. Sir, NTSC is for education in general.
Okay. You have also been successful in Maths Olympiad,
Yes, sir.
basketball and quizzing, speed cubing. So speed cubing is Rubik's Cube.
Yes, sir. Comparative solving of Rubik's Cube.
Okay. Mentoring aspirants for competitive examination, listening to ghazals and qawwalis. Anthropology is your optional.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me, Utkarsh, what do you understand by Miranda rights?
Sir,
Have you heard about it?
Sir, I've heard the term, but I cannot recall. Sir.
You must have, in many English movies, the policeman tells the accused. What does he say?
Sir, the policeman says you have the right to remain silent.
Yes, yeah.
You can ask for a lawyer.
Correct. So Miranda rights.
Okay, sir.
All right. Civil engineering, can you tell me what are the steps of a project management? And what are the precautions you have to keep in order that the project is completed within time?
Sir, a project starts right from the conceptualization of the project. Sir, after that, the bidding is done. Sir, in the bidding, we have to take precaution that the bidding is done fairly on terms of merit only. Sir, after that, the project implementation part is there. And so project implementation requires regular monitoring and course correction as well. Sir, because different conditions can arise as the project is getting implemented. So, sir, we need to be flexible enough so that these can be incorporated. And, sir, I forgot to mention public participation. Sir, public has to be participated while formulating the project. And, sir, after that, the project evaluation and regular monitoring requires to be done.
So you talked about public participation. Now, the concept of PPP, what exactly does the PPP include? What exactly are the three essential things which a PPP brings?
Sir, PPP project, public-private participation project, incorporates the expertise of both the public as well as private sector in implementation of the project. Sir, it requires diversification of risk. Sir, funding comes from both the sources in different proportions. And, sir,
absolutely correct. So it is capital, funding. The second is the professionalism, expertise, yes. And third is the risk sharing. Okay. Now, when we talk about mathematics, so can you tell me that how mathematics is going to be useful to you? Since you have taken part in the Olympiad, I just wanted to ask you this thing. Can it have any use in the civil services?
Yes, sir. Sir, mathematics, different branches of mathematics can be used in civil services. So, for example, mathematical modeling can be one area which can be used to project or prepare for things in future. For example, mathematical modeling is used in, for example, in prediction of floods, prediction of climate disasters. And, sir, also whether a project can be successful or not. These things can also be determined beforehand by modeling.
My last question would be, can you trace the origin of the word quiz? Because you are fond of quizzing.
Sir, I do not know, sir.
Okay, you can read through it. It was a nonsense word, and it started in Dublin, Ireland, where a group of people got together. You can read that thing,
Yes,
quizzing.
thank you, sir.
That is something. But just one thing, Indian ghazal singers, which are your favorites?
Sir, Jagjit Singh ji. And sir, I although do not understand Punjabi to some extent, but I also listen to Shiv Kumar Batalvi ji. And sir, present singers are also there. But sir, Jagjit Singh ji is my
Only
favorite.
Jagjit Singh. There no one other than Jagjit Singh.
Sir, there are singers who migrated to Pakistan.
Indian ghazal singers I was asking you.
Sir, Talat Aziz.
Talad Aziz, Hariharan.
Yes, sir, these are also there.
So there are many ghazal
Yes,
singers.
sir, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You mentor aspirants for competitive exams.
Yes, sir.
Now, from your DAF, I see that you appeared in different competitive exams at least 9 or 10 times. Am I right?
Sir, the civils.
No, all exams, all
Yes, sir,
competitive.
I have appeared in.
So, if you have taken 9, 10 attempts to pass competitive exams, you think you're qualified to mentor others?
Sir, I help aspirants in only those exams which I have qualified. For example, JEE, NTAC, KVPY. And sir, recently I also help my friends with CSAT of the civil services also.
Okay. Now, out of all the services here,
Yes, sir.
how many services wear uniform? Or out of the services that you have opted for,
Yes, sir.
how many services wear uniform?
So the Indian Police Service, the Railway Protection Service, the DANEPS. Sir,
Okay.
I can recall only.
So you have opted for IPS, which in the hierarchy, as the perception is a preferred option of most people. Now, what is happening here is you have filled IAS, you have filled this, that, and based on merit, somebody will go here, somebody will go to IPS.
Yes, sir.
Do you think, now Army is also uniformed service, but the Army selection is not based on written examination alone.
Yes, sir.
There is a different set of exam which goes deep into your mind and heart to see whether you are fit to be there. So, do you think you need a separate examination for an IPS officer? Because he also wears uniform. He is also leadership, leading men, value system is also associated with that uniform. So you think you need another exam or just किसी को भी उठा के भेज दो?
Sir, I think the present system of examination can be slightly tweaked. And sir, the common set of exams that we have for administrative, police, and other services, sir, I think this is a good marker to select students for IPS as well. So because Army is a different area which requires one to deal with different challenges altogether. Sir, in police service, I believe training can be post-selection training to cater to the specific demands of the police service is a good way to go.
See, I saw a video yesterday where a very senior rank police officer did not even know how to march. You saw that video?
Sir, I did not see that video.
Please see it. And few days back I saw a WhatsApp video where middle level officers could not load a weapon. They were
Yes, sir.
loading a weapon from the front. You've seen it?
I saw that video.
As was done 2000 years ago. So something is not gelling. Something is not right. Something doesn't add up here.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. Can you tell me how the state of Israel originated?
So the present state of Israel originated after a UN declaration in 1950s. Sir,
19?
so around 1950.
Okay.
Sir, I'm unable to recall.
Okay,
the
please
detail.
read that.
Yes, sir.
Because Israel is instrumental in many ways in the peace or conflict that happens all over the world as far as Muslims are concerned. So it's an
Yes,
important thing. Please read that.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I will.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Utkarsh, some questions from anthropology.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, firstly, very briefly, what are these primitive tribal groups and how their problems are distinct from the problems of many other tribal groups?
So there are 75 primitive tribal groups in our country, and so primitive tribal groups are those tribals which are even more marginalized among the tribals. So there are different strata of social life in tribals as well. So primitive tribal groups live on the fringe of society. They are geographically isolated. Their population density is also very low, and it is often dwindling as well. So their culture is often not recorded. So there is no written record of their language, their culture, their religion, and so often they also face the brunt of police forces, and they face arrests as well. So this was the first part of the question. So second part of the question was,
How their problems are
yes,
distinct from the other tribal groups, because not all tribal groups are facing the same problems.
yes, sir. So the unique problems that their population faces is their population often is very low, and sir, their culture is not documented, as I said, sir. Tribals like Sentinelese, Andamanis, they live on a very secluded area where even the civilians or the government reach is not there. So that's why they are differently categorized, so that specific take care of them can be taken.
Can you also share with me? You see, there are two apparently diametrically opposite requirements. One is preservation of the tribal way of life.
Yes, sir.
You know, our constitution guarantees it to all citizens. On the other hand, the fruits of development and progress, if I may use the term, should reach everybody. So how to reconcile these two as far as the primitive tribal groups are concerned?
Sir, in order to reconcile these two, I believe that definition of development that our mainstream society has should not be verbatim implemented to the tribals. Sir, for tribals, development is protection of their culture. Sir, for tribals, the development is the fact that
Can I interrupt you?
Yes, sir.
Can you set up the required health facilities?
Yes, sir.
No, will it militate against the requirement of preservation of their culture? This is what I'm asking. Education, modern education, more pay, more creation of more opportunities for them, and mainstreaming, if I may use that word. Are these, as first Prime Minister said, that should we continue to maintain the anthropological zoo? That is the challenge. So my question is directed in that direction. Are there any specific policies for PTGs?
So there are specific schemes for PTGs. Sir, also, sir, health facilities are being established in tribal areas, but sir, a lot of them face the problem of again being alienated from their culture. So many tribals do not use those facilities because they believe that it is alien to their culture. So there are successful models as well.
Acha. Okay.
Sir,
Where?
Sir, in Maharashtra, Professor Abhay Bang, he has him and his NGO has set up a health facility in tribal districts by the name of Danteshwari Hospital.
Okay.
So Danteshwari is the tribal goddess. So sir, tribals are more happy to use those facilities.
Very well. Very well. You must have come across the terms like Sanskritization, Westernization.
Yes,
so, what exactly is primary Westernization?
Sir, primary westernization, in my opinion, is the westernization of our clothes, westernization of our external things that we have and not we are.
Secondary and tertiary.
Sir,
So in that context, please tell me.
So secondary and tertiary westernization could be the internalization of Western values and beliefs.
Please read up. One is direct contact with
Okay, sir.
the secondary and then tertiary.
Yes, sir. I will
M.N.
read.
Srinivas and that thing.
Yes, sir. I will read.
Is that thing there in the syllabus?
Yes, sir. I probably could not recall it. It is there.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Utkarsh, experts are of the opinion that industrialization of a country increases the greenhouse effect that further leads to global warming. This is what the expert says.
Yes, sir.
So should we stop industrialization?
Sir, industrialization today is the future, as we call it. Sir, the best thing that we can do at this point is to balance the industrialization with environment and ensure that the negative impact of industrialization is minimized to the environment. So there are provisions of CSR and compensatory afforestation that industries have to do. So these things, I think, should be more mainstreamed rather than stopping industrialization.
Okay. What is the difference between fundamental rights and human rights?
Sir, fundamental rights are specific to a country. Sir, fundamental rights, for example, in India's case, is by virtue of the fact that we are Indians. And sir, human rights is given to a person by virtue of fact that he is a human being. Sir, human rights are universal.
Which is more important of the two?
Sir, both have their own importance, but I believe there are some intrinsic human rights that hold primacy, that are most important.
Okay, but fundamental rights are protected by law, or human rights are also protected by law?
Sir, human rights are protected by international conventions, and fundamental rights are protected by laws made in a country.
Constitution. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One last question, since you come from Bihar, should we continue with the prohibition policy in Bihar and go on losing revenue?
So prohibition policy is a mixed success. I will accept this fact. Sir, but there are very positive changes that have been seen. Sir, rate of domestic violence has decreased. Crimes have also decreased. And sir, since we are in the 6th year of prohibition, I think regular review of prohibition policy should be done, and it should be continued in my opinion. And sir, second part of your question is of revenue loss. Sir, in my opinion, the revenue of state has decreased while the revenue of a particular house has increased. So sir, in my opinion, if a particular household is more prosperous than before, then it is a good step.
Don't you think belonging to Bihar, we should be more pragmatic than idealistic in our approach? Because states, the adjoining states, like UP and others, they have no provision. And people from Bihar go to UP every weekend and take liquors. So what is the fun? And so many people are getting killed by huge illicit liquor.
Sir, every state has its own challenges, and I believe prohibition was enacted by keeping in cognizance our own problems. Sir, Bihar had a large number of domestic violence cases. Crimes were also on a rise. Sir, I think the prohibition was taken in that spirit. And sir, it is a pragmatic step in my opinion, sir, because it is leading to multiplier effect. It will lead to multiplier effect in my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Utkarsh, we will take you back to the waiting room for a while. We'll call you back again
Thank
for
you.
feedback. Okay. Have a seat, Utkarsh. So, Utkarsh Ujjwal, when is your interview?
Sir, it's in the second half. Dates are not out.
Okay. So, how do you think you performed at today's mock?
So I would say average. Lots of scope of improvement is there.
Okay. So this is, how many mocks have you done before this?
Sir, two mocks.
Okay. So Utkarsh, I must say that you are otherwise quite all right, quite good in your mock. But as one would say, a lot of time is there at your disposal. You can really become outstanding, as we would like you to become. And because you have many positive things also, your communication skills are absolutely good, articulation is good, choice of words also was fine, and a smooth delivery. There were no hiccups, there were no pauses in between, and your eye contact, your scanning, modulation in the voice, everything was fine. So the skills, as far as they are concerned, they are very good. You don't need to make any changes. Your dress sense is also fine. So nothing is required. Your attitude was also positive. And what they like to see is whether one is rational, whether one is secular, one is ethical. So the things which are now needed probably will be a certain brush up of the knowledge, because ultimately 25 minutes time you will get. So this is the first time you are coming for an interview?
Yes, sir.
So just general tips I will give you. So you will come to the UPSC, you will sit in a room, you will be waiting for your turn, and then there will be number of newspapers, magazines. So just have a cursory reading of that to have a knowledge about the current events of that day, that is previous day.
Yes, sir.
Then when you will be ushered into the room, then you don't have to ask, may I come in, sir? You will be just ushered inside. So you will come there inside and you will simply greet the women member and the all other members. There will be always in front of you a notebook and a pencil. This is to help the candidate to gather his thoughts if needed, so that sometimes once in a while you can take its help with permission and you can jot down your and then come out with the answer. Whenever you speak, always remember that the most important part of the answer should come first, because every answer, you have to ensure that it is to the point, short, crisp, whatever you want to convey. So believe in the adage, less is more. So try to take as many questions as possible. That will be possible only when you give sharp, crisp answers. Then thirdly is that if whenever you give an answer, try to supplement with examples, because examples actually are the most important part of it, practical applicability. For example, if it's supposing a question like what is accountability, so explain accountability and then why it is necessary in civil services, and give an example like say Lal Bahadur Shastri, who resigned as a railway minister. Yes. So example always add a lot of credence to their answer. Then if there is something which there is a difference of opinion with the panelist, never get into an argument with the panelist, and you can state your viewpoint also and appreciate the viewpoint of the panelist also. If there is a controversial question which may have its bearing on two or more aspects, so people may differ in terms of their opinion, like hijab controversy or demonetization or Article 370, Central Vista project, reservation policy. There give both or more than whatever is that the different parts of that answer. So different sides of the coin. Try to bring out as many as possible, that these are the different views on this. And then if they ask for your considered opinion, then always go by the official line. You will not take any other line. If it is surgical strike, there will be two opinions.
Yes,
if it is demonetization, there will be two opinions. Always give the official side. And if there is a judgment, then take shelter behind the judgment, like Ayodhya or demonetization, hijab. Now coming to some of the topics which might, so one of course is the prohibition policy.
Yes, sir.
and law and order, mafia. And then what are the positives? For example, the Chief Minister, their government has done a lot for the women, children, girls who are going to the schools, so bicycles and many other things. So particularly read the policies, programs and schemes and acts which govern empowerment of women. Then children, similarly children. For example, women, it can be Equal Remuneration Act and the act like Dowry Prohibition Act and Domestic Violence Act. And also children. So things like POXO or Juvenile Justice Act. Why I am telling you? Because certain sectors of the society, the government always lays a stress on that. So scheduled tribe, scheduled caste and senior citizens. You have also given your preference in Indian police service.
Yes, sir.
So they may ask the question that if you are superintendent of police, what measures you will take for ensuring protection of the women and senior citizens in your district? What arrangements would you make to regulate the traffic in case a VVIP passes through and you want to avoid the inconvenience to the people because the traffic is stopped for many hours together? Okay. What steps will you take to ensure that the investigation is done in a scientific manner? So taking help of the forensic science, the social profiling, narco test, brain test, all those new technological measures. These are the types of questions. What measure will you take to make police friendly to the citizens of this country? And then how will you reduce the corruption? So read the good governance principles and e-governance, role of technology.
Sir, I have a small question.
Yeah, sure.
So, for example, like you said, if you are SP, how will you regulate the traffic
Yes.
if a VVIP is coming?
Yes, correct.
So, sir, how do I prepare this answer?
Yeah, so the answer to that is there can be many ways. Number one is that half of the road you open up, half of the road you stop the traffic. Okay, if it is a 4-lane road, then one side can continue, the other side can remain closed. Okay, that will ensure, and then at the last moment just close that also. That is one way. Minimum time it should be closed. Number two, take the VVIP by helicopter so that this problem does not arise. Number three, adjust the timings of the VVIP if possible, so that he goes at a time when the traffic is low, or follow a route where there is not much of a traffic. So these are the different ways in which you can bring down the inconvenience of the people. Okay, and then so I was telling you that police side and then good governance. So how to reduce corruption, how to improve responsiveness. So public grievances system, all these things are the measure that they will like to see whether you can be innovative in terms of bringing about improvements in the bureaucracy. Then also prepares about the constitution, read the constitution, and the budget and the economic survey of India. Economic survey of India will give you idea about the economic indicators.
Yes, sir.
Prepare the foreign policy. That's about it. If you prepare on these directions, so then mostly the things would be covered. But be prepared to have a greater depth in your answer, so that if you are in a position to answer one question, it may be followed by the supplementary also. That will be possible only you prepared it fully. Okay, Niti Aayog you should definitely go through. Privatization issues is another important thing. Russia-Ukraine war is another thing. The world problems which we are facing, so particularly climate change. So that again is something you should prepare very well on climate change. COVID-19, preparedness, electoral reforms, police reforms, administrative reforms, health reforms. These are the areas which you should prepare also. Corporate governance and ethics, corporate social responsibility. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm facing some problem in situation type questions. Suppose you are the SP of a district, then what will you do? So these type of questions I'm not able to. For example, the question the member asked, give steps. What will you do? 4 or 5 steps.
Yeah. So it can be, for example, So supposing a murder has been committed or a rape has been committed, so what will you do? So naturally elementary thing is that first of all you will depute an officer to go there, investigating officer, and he will cordon off the area. Then take the help of technology. Supposing it is an urban area, the CCTV footage, okay, and also the evidence of the people. These are elementary things which are to be done. Then taking samples from there, okay, taking the statements of the accused if he is there, and also taking the statement of all the stakeholders there, keeping some people posted there, also taking some of the things like narco test if there is a need, lie detector test, use of technology, social media profiling. So this is the step is like this only. So you should prepare only one thing. What are the steps taken for investigation? If you read that, probably every question relating to police will be answered. The steps taken required for carrying out an investigation.
Yes, sir.
That is one. Floods, they can say that if the floods are there, what steps will you take? Floods, you can easily look up. If you want to understand what are the steps that are needed, go to any officer in the district administration and understand how things work in a district. So for example, if it is floods, then you will need to come out with the flood control order. You see, the names of the officers, the drainage department, irrigation department, the tehsildar, the revenue officers, the superintendent of police, the coordination. And this you will be able to understand if you understand the roles of the collector. So what are the roles of collector? One is a coordinating function, the other is the revenue function, third is a law and order function, fourth is a developmental function, and fifth is the electoral function. So the coordination is what you require in the case of a calamity or other things. So basically the preparedness is done. The general outline is this: understand the problem. First, step one, what is the problem? Find out the options which are present before you. Find out the merits and demerits of each option. Select which option, and the test is it legal? Is it
ethical?
It is ethical. Is it beneficial? Choose the right option and then come out with that thing. If you want, you can read one of the books on ethical dilemmas written by R. Rajgopalan. R. Rajgopalan has written a beautiful book on ethical challenges and dilemmas, where he describes the process by which a dilemma is solved.
Yes, sir.
That will help you out. Any other thing you want to know?
Sir, I would like to ask sir about the question on whether we need different training module for IPS officers. Sir,
yeah, it's just a thinking, just to tickle your mind. And the way you suggested is okay, that we can look at it, explore this possibility, because by and large the duties of civil servants are the same, value system is the same, but this is a service which is right in the public eye, and therefore certain value systems need to be inculcated. While in other services somebody can get away because he is not in public eye. Here he cannot. If you actually see the video of that police officer, it's really pathetic. So if he cannot march straight after wearing uniform for 25 years, what will he teach to the others? So there is merit in examining this, and you can look at it this. Otherwise, the present system takes part of one aspect of intellect, part of selection,
yes, sir.
And the other part can be explored. In that fashion, you can actually answer.
Yes, sir.
All the best to you.
Thank you.
We'll definitely look forward to getting a good marks in the interview and getting selected.
Thank you, sir.
And prepare on your hobbies well. You have a very large number of achievements and hobbies. So many questions can be asked on that.
I will prepare.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.